What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Busy Dad's Board Gaming. I'm Neil Odette, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing of Paper Tales from Stronghold Games, who was actually kind enough to provide me with the game. So let's dive right into it. Alright, so here we have the front of the box, published by Stronghold Games, as I mentioned, designed by Masato Yusugi, and the artist being Christine Alkoff. I apologize if I'm pronouncing either of those incorrectly, which I have no doubt I probably am. But I love the front of this box. The crisp, clean white with the stained glass mural, I guess you can say, of the king has me absolutely intrigued. I'm excited to play this, excited to dive in and see what it's all about. So let's turn it over and see what's on the back. Taking a look at the back, we see the title, Paper Tales, ages 12 plus, 2 to 5 players with a 30-minute, give or take, play time. Recruit units, wage war on your opponents, construct buildings, and lead your kingdom to victory. Efficiently choose and combine your units, use their abilities to develop your kingdom and overcome your opponents, and plan ahead to ensure you get the most out of your units before they retire with the passing of time. Paper Tales is a dynamic and fast-playing card drafting game. It combines an original units aging system with tight space management. Set up the best combination of cards, but be cautious not to let your opponents get the units that they need. Anticipate the aging of your units and cope with the relentless passing of time. So it appears that time is going to be a factor in some sort of way in this game. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. Over here you see also the components that are going to be in the box and just the art, which looks like the overall setup of the game. So let's dive right in and take a look at what comes in the box. Obviously, when you open up the box, you're going to be greeted with the rule book, which again has that mural, that stained glass window piece, along with the title and some text here. So let's have a read. There once was a time full of relentless, heroic wars and fantastic creatures. Paper Tales is the last remaining relic of those forgotten centuries. Time has come to reopen this book and to relive these legendary ages. Paper Tales is a card game for 2 to 5 players. Collect legend points to rewrite history in your favor. On each turn, choose the best combination of units. They symbolize your kingdom's glory through its wars and achievements. Quickly, however, you will lack space and your units will inexorably be swept away by the passing of time. So again, time being a big factor, as we read on the back of the box. So we'll certainly open this up and see what it's all about. So on the first page, you have again the components. Talks about resources and the anatomy of a card. So what's in an actual card? Getting over to the setup, it looks, given the few paragraphs that are here, it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to set up. So that's great. It talks about your overall kingdom. And then the anatomy of building cards. You got unit cards in play, and then you have building cards. So it'll be interesting to see how those two kind of coexist together within your kingdom. Object of the game. Players develop their kingdoms by deploying units and constructing buildings. They earn legend points through wars, constructions, and card abilities. The player with the most legend points after 4 game turns is the winner. Okay, so going into that 30-minute playtime over 4 turns, that sort of makes sense. So it's not an overly long game, which is great. But then it goes into the game flow, talking about the phases. So you have 6 phases. So you have recruitment, deployment, wars, income, construction, and aging, which those are further explained through these pages here. Income, construction, 4 and 5, with some examples. And then finally, aging. It appears that your units are going to age over the time and will be taken out of play, and of course you'll have to recruit more units to fight your wars. End of game, end of turn, end of game, again, ends after 4 turns, with the player who has scored the most legend points winning. We've got some rules for 2 players, and then some card timing clarifications. All right, so that's the rule book. Let's take a look at what else we have in here. Right underneath the rule book, we have the score track. This is probably the 4 turns. The arrows denoting which way players will be passing their cards, because this is sort of a hand drafting game. When you draw your cards at the beginning of your turn for the recruitment phase, you pick one, and then you'll pass them, in this case, clockwise, and then on the second round, counterclockwise, clockwise again, and then counterclockwise. And then obviously you can see here, as it winds around, the score track for your legend points that will determine whether or not that you actually win the game. So taking a look underneath the score track, we have 2 boards with money tokens, so your 1s and your 5s for your incremental changes in money, in case you run out of 1s. And then you have your actual age tokens. So the way this game works is on phase 6, your units that you have in play age. If they don't already have an age token on them, they receive one. If they do already have an age token on them, they essentially retire. So they come out of play, and then during the next turn, you're able to recruit units into those positions, because you can only have 4 units at a time in your kingdom. So that's a pretty interesting mechanic. We'll see how that plays out later on in a how to play and potentially a full-on playthrough. So not bad. Pretty standard otherwise. Okay, here we have a couple of tokens, 1 of each color for players, and then the bigger one, the blue big one, is your actual wooden time token. So this goes on the score track to show which round that you're on, and then obviously your player tokens: white, green, red, purple, and yellow. I'm a yellow man myself. If there's yellow, it will be me. And also in this spot here, we have what appears to be 2 packs of cards. So let's peel those away and take a look. Basically what you're seeing here, if we go over the card anatomy, we'll zoom in here a little bit. So going over the card anatomy, at the top you have the unit's name, so in this case the Adventurer or Cave Spirit. To the right of that, it actually shows you how many cards of that type are in the deck, so in this case 2, again 2, 1 Salamander, 1 Master Alchemist, etc., etc. And then you have the unit cost for this, or the deployment cost for this case, it's 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, etc. And then you have the unit strength. So you have a front line and a rear line of units in your kingdom. During the wars phase, you compare the strength of your front line with the strength of the person to the left and right. And for each war that you win, you actually score legend points. So it's pretty simple mechanic in that sense of just adding the 2 front units that you have in your kingdom. So 4 and 2 equals 6. If you tie or beat the person to your left, you get legend points. If you tie or beat the person to the right, you get legend points. Otherwise, they would score against you. So pretty simple mechanic. You can extend that with your building cards to have 3 spots in your front row and 2 in your back, as opposed to 2, making it a little bit easier to win wars. Then you have your card ability. So in this case, this is your card ability here. And then the resources produced by that unit. Whatever symbol this is, crystal perhaps, you'd get a crystal resource for each age symbol on an adventurer. And those resources are, if I can explain it properly, those resources aren't something that you actually hold as long as, or have to spend rather, as long as you have the cards in your kingdom, they're able to provide those resources. So that's some of the units that you have in the decks. Feel free to pause this at any time so you can actually read the cards and sort of take a look at what they are able to do with regards to their abilities and what they're able to produce with regards to their resources. Okay, and then we have the other pack here. So this one will have more units in it, but this should also have the buildings. And then if we go further into it, so there we go. We have 5 reference cards based on the color that you choose. And then you actually have the 5 buildings. So we have mine, temple, tavern, town, and finally the barracks. Okay, so each of these buildings will actually provide you with legend points as well, and they also have 2 sides. So you see up here, we're on side number 1, and this is the resource cost for the mine, for instance. So if you have a unit that produces that resource, you can build the mine in the construction phase. However, if you wanted to upgrade the mine to the other side, you would have to be able to produce that symbol as well as the other. And then during your construction phase, you can actually upgrade it, which will provide you with different resources when necessary. And that's pretty much it. Again, like I said, each of these has a double side. It looks like the art is the same on both sides, which is a little bit unfortunate. You'd think that if you're upgrading it, it would be a different art style, maybe to show that it's actually upgraded. But in a nutshell, that is everything that comes in the box for Paper Tales. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel and like the video, as well as go ahead and share it with family and friends, as it goes a long way in helping the channel grow. You can find me over on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Links for everything in the description below. But until next time, as always, thanks for watching and happy gaming.